Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and the Scouting for Manchester United series, where today, as you can see straight away, we are talking about Declan Rice, West Ham's Player of the Year. And I mean, what a player he is. Recently linked with Manchester United, so we're going to look at what he would bring to the team. We're going to look at some of his strengths and weaknesses as a player, but also look at literally how he would fit into the side, kind of in the first phase, second phase, third phase, defending a transition, things like that. We're going to look at how Declan Rice would fit in at Manchester United. In terms of kind of talking about him, he is running out of time on his contract. His contract expires next year, although the club does have the option to extend by 1 year. 24 years old though, regularly plays for England in all of the biggest games, one of England's most important players, and all round just a really, really good footballer. So we need to look at how he would fit into this team. So in my opinion, Declan Rice's long-term future is as a 6 or a holding midfielder. I think if he kind of masters that later on in his career, he will become one of the best holding midfielders, one of the most complete holding midfielders that we have ever seen. However, in terms of if we're looking at the short-term future of Manchester United, I don't see Casemiro being replaced in the next 12 months when he was signed for about 70 million just last year. So I think if Declan Rice was to come into the team this summer, I think he would come in as a left-sided central midfielder. And that of course gives him a very different job to what it would if he was the holding midfielder. However, whilst he may not have kind of traditionally played this position so far in his career, I still think he has a really high ceiling as a number 8. I think he's one of the most complete midfielders in the world. There's kind of this trend at the moment of going, oh, he's English, he's overrated. And it couldn't be further from the truth. He's actually still underrated. He is genuinely, hand on heart, one of the best players in the world at the moment. And he's one of the few players in the world who has such a well-rounded skill set. In terms of the attributes which he brings to the team, he brings a little bit of everything. So we'll kind of see this in the first phase, where Declan Rice is very good at dropping deeper. Of course, normally starting in deeper positions for West Ham, he is more than used to being in these positions. Now, I wouldn't say that he is elite in this phase. He isn't the most press-resistant player in the world that you will ever see. However, what he does do well is he makes himself available for the pass. What we'll see players sometimes doing is kind of hiding behind the opposition a little bit, and they get themselves marked. When this happens, Declan Rice is very good at moving into different positions to make sure that he is always available for the pass. Having received the pass, whilst he may not be elite with his press resistance, he is certainly still a press resistant player. Now, that is partly due to his size and his physique. He's very good at kind of holding off players that try and press him using his strength. However, technically he is also very, very good. Now, he does occasionally get caught out when receiving the ball on his left foot, his weaker foot. He can be targeted with pressure then. However, when he's receiving on the right foot, his ability to turn on the ball is really good in these areas. And he's very good at kind of turning out of this position and then looking to drive forward. And again, I think from a technical point of view, he's massively underrated. People look at him and see his size, his physique, his defensive ability, his ability to kind of stride up the pitch, and they only really see that side of his game. From a technical point of view, his ball control, his touches, the way that he dribbles is really good. The way he receives the ball, he is a very good technical player. So in the first phase, he would be an upgrade on Casemiro and arguably Christian Eriksen as well. He may not be the first phase specialist which United might want. However, if Ten Hag is taking the team in a certain direction, Declan Rice could be very, very good in the first phase. Now, if as a collective, United are able to improve in the first phase, and that would happen with someone like Declan Rice at the club, then they will of course move into the middle third on a more regular basis, on a more frequent basis, getting out for the press. And this is where, you know, we can look at Declan Rice's skill set in the second phase, in the middle phase of the pitch. And again, I think Declan Rice is very, very good in these positions. Again, thanks to his pure technical ability on the ball, he is very, very good in tight spaces. He can absorb pressure. Again, he's got the strength to win most physical duels. But again, it's the technical ability. And for me, it's his passing, which I really, really like. I think he is an excellent passer of the ball, with pretty much every sort of pass in his locker. He is capable of clipping a ball over the top of the defence, feeding the ball out wide into a winger, kind of short passes alongside those next to him, but also in particular, the switches of play. He's a very, very good long passer, and actually one of the most effortless long passes in football at the moment. The way in which he kind of picks the ball, he just clips up there like it's nothing. And this is something United could use. We know that United like to stretch the pitch with the wingers. Declan Rice picking the ball up in this position and kind of pinging a pass out to Anthony, who then gets to his fullback, could be a very good weapon. And this is kind of reflected in Declan Rice's passing FBref report, where we can see none of these numbers are exceptional, right? But what you've got to consider is that he plays for West Ham. Now, no offence to West Ham, they've been pretty shoddy this year. They've had a really poor season, and we know that David Moyes, even at the best of times, even when his team is on form, isn't a manager which asks for, high possession football. So Declan Rice isn't playing in a team which sees a lot of the ball, yet he is still producing these numbers. And to me, that's a really good sign, and it suggests that he could become a high volume midfielder. Do I think he is necessarily kind of that high volume player right now? Maybe not. But I think he could become it in a team which wants him to do that job. At the moment, he isn't asked to play that role. However, I think he could do it. And again, he does have every pass in his locker. Now, in terms of what I'd like to see a bit more moving forward, is perhaps the passes in between the lines. His progressive passing numbers are actually decent, but they tend to come more in counter-attack, in transition, whereas I would like to see in settled play, Declan Rice playing balls in between the lines on a more regular basis. Again, he does do it to an extent, we see it more for England, but I would still like to see it increased. But again, we have to consider the environment he is in currently. West Ham, again, they play forward very quickly. They do kind of bypass the midfield at times, so we haven't seen it from Rice. However, he has still shown in glimpses that he is capable of progressing the ball in this way. And of course, the other way in which he is really, really good at progressing the ball forward is with his carries. He is one of the best ball carriers in the Premier League, whether that be on a counter-attack against a more settled structure. Again, it's his size, his strength, his physique, but also his athleticism, but also importantly his technical ability. He's very, very good at carrying the ball up the pitch. He's a very, very good ball progressor. And this is something which United don't have. Now, United have several decent passers in their team. Christian Eriksen, for example, is good at passing the ball forward, and so is Bruno Fernandes. But these players aren't good at carrying the ball forward. Sometimes you need to break a structure by striding forward, going man for man against someone, and winning that little man for man battle, because then it opens up space for someone else, or for yourself on the ball, depending on the situation. That is something which Declan Rice would bring to the team, which United really lack at the moment. So I think his ball progression would be very good, and I do think he would drastically improve United both in the first phase and in the middle phase as well. Now, in terms of the final phase or the final third of the pitch, this isn't where I really see Declan Rice thriving. He has said in the past that he wants to get forward on a more regular basis, and he is capable of doing so in glimpses. We do see moments where he strides forward, beats a man in the box, puts the ball across and does really well, and he does chip in with the occasional goal. However, if he was to join United, I think we would still see elements of it in his game, but I do think he would be used in a deeper position. Most likely in a 3-2 shape like this, where a double pivot of Declan Rice and Casemiro could be very, very good. Again, you've got Declan Rice's passing ability, the ability to move the ball forward, but importantly also the counter press, which we will come back onto. This would be a midfield which could really win the ball back very well. We could also see it become a 3-1-6 as well. When United are dominating and they want to push an extra fullback forward, Casemiro could drop in between the centre-backs, and Declan Rice could then play as a solo pivot in a 3-1-6 or a 3-1-3-3, or a 3-4-3 diamond. Again, I think this would suit Rice. I think what we can see is that if Declan Rice was to join the club, then he would bring a lot to the team, both in and out of possession, but particularly in possession, in the first phase, in the middle phase. He would really help United improve, and he would improve the structure. And of course, long term, he could become the eventual Casemiro replacement. He could be the solo six, the holding midfielder, particularly because of his defensive ability, which we will just take a quick look at, because his defensive numbers, some of them are absolutely ridiculous. The way that he kind of challenges 1-versus-1 duels are very good, his reading of the play to intercept, but also, again, his physicality, allowing him to win physical battles. Declan Rice is all round very good. And what I like particularly is the way that he defends counterattacks and transitions. This is something which Casemiro struggles with a little bit at times, because he does like to dive into a challenge. Declan Rice does things a little bit differently. Declan Rice takes more of the approach of, rather than instantly diving at this player, he just delays it a little bit. He lets the player carry the ball further forward. He lets them carry it for a bit, but he's always kind of monitoring the situation. Then he waits for the right time to strike, and he's in there with the tackle. And what this does is it means that his defence doesn't get exposed. Let's say it's this sort of situation here, and the opposition are counter-attacking. If Declan Rice pounces immediately, and he gets it wrong, he's leaving his defenders very exposed. So instead he lets the opposition carry the ball forward, kind of closes the space for the opposition themselves, and then he engages. And that is something which United could really do with, especially if you combine it with Casemiro in this area as well. You would think that from a defensive point of view, United would drastically improve. Of course, on top of all of this, Declan Rice is a real physical specimen, so not only does he read the game well, but he's also very strong, brilliant in the air, and covers a lot of ground. He's super hard working, his stamina on the football pitch is absolutely incredible, as is his work rate, and importantly, he's nearly always available. He is a player which wears his heart on his sleeve. He'll be captain of England one day, I'm sure of it. He's a real leader on the pitch. He's a real personality. You can kind of see that he has this aura about him, which he carries himself. And all round, he's just a really good player. In terms of should Manchester United sign him, that's the question maybe for you guys to answer. I think he's a really good player, and I think he would improve United in a lot of ways. I think both on and off the ball, he would improve this Manchester United team. The question again we kind of find ourselves with is, what direction is Erik ten Hag trying to take the team? We're not too sure, because we keep seeing different links with almost different types of player, so it's a little bit difficult to tell. Declan Rice though is phenomenal. I'm confident he will leave West Ham this summer because he shouldn't be in relegation battles for 2/3 of the season. He's too good. He should be playing Champions League football week in, week out. Where will he go? I don't know. Whoever gets him though, whoever can afford him, will get themselves a wonderful, wonderful player who could be one of the best holding midfielders for the next decade, or could be certainly a really very, very effective number 8 who pushes forward in a bit more of a box-to-box role. Either way, he's simply phenomenal. Should United sign him, I could see him next to Casemiro in a Bruno Fernandes midfield as well. I think that balance would work quite nicely, but United would need the right profiles around him. But more so, I'm interested in your thoughts, so let me know in the comments down below. Do you think United should sign Rice to play alongside Casemiro and then in a couple of years replace him? Or do you just think it's the wrong type of profile for what United need? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please do subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on so you see all future videos. But apart from that, thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I will see you in the next one.